My radiant child, the heavens have begun to tremble, not in fear but in divine alignment. On November 4, Archangel Michael did not simply move through the skies, he shifted the atmosphere surrounding you. That sudden wave of peace, the unexplained tension, the feeling that something unseen brushed against your spirit, it was not your imagination. It was the signal that the realms above had begun to rearrange themselves for your awakening. There is a sound being released in the spirit, a frequency only the chosen can feel. You are one of them. Michael's wings have stirred the air around your home, round your workplace, round your mind. He is clearing what was once heavy, what once blocked your prayers, what once silenced your divine intuition. The winds you feel are not of this world. They carry the scent of breakthrough. My beloved, every shiver, every sudden silence, every flicker of light you noticed these past hours, they were confirmations. Michael's sword of light has entered your environment to divide what is holy from what is false, what is aligned from what is counterfeit. Those who have walked against your purpose will begin to feel uncomfortable in your presence, because the angel of divine authority has stepped in. Do not dismiss what you've been sensing. The whispers, the still moments, the pull toward reflection, all of it is evidence of transition. Heaven has marked your coordinates. November 4 wasn't a random date on a calendar. It was a seal, a moment when the atmosphere began to obey divine command around you. Hold on to this truth. You are standing in the threshold of a supernatural reset. Things that felt delayed are now catching divine momentum. Energies that drained you are being purged. The air itself is responding to the orders of Archangel Michael. You might have noticed sudden emotions, vivid dreams, or memories resurfacing. That's not confusion, that's cleansing. The energy around you is being refined like golden fire. Because when Michael begins to move, he doesn't just shift what's around you, he activates what's within you. Stay still, child of light. Something greater is forming right now, something the enemy cannot touch, delay, or deny. Type "I welcome the shift" in the comments if this message stirs your soul. Lesson code 441 is now released. Before you even think of scrolling, remember, what comes next will explain why this shift had to happen exactly now. The revelation that follows will open your eyes to what is about to unfold in your physical world. Trust me, you'll want to hear this next part. Beloved listener of the light, as the air around you shifted, something else began to stir. The unseen alignment of destiny. Archangel Michael's movement was not random, it was strategic. The atmosphere had to be corrected before your next assignment could be revealed. For too long, the spiritual frequency around you was distorted, cluttered by fear, distractions, and voices that did not belong to God. But as of November 4, the distortion began to fade. The Archangel's command cut through it like lightning through a storm, recalibrating everything that touches your energy field. Can you feel how moments have started to slow down, how your discernment has sharpened? This is not ordinary awareness. Michael is amplifying your spiritual perception, awakening the warrior in your spirit. You are now entering a dimension where intuition and divine instruction merge into one voice, the voice of purpose. Every step you take is being watched, measured, and guarded. When the Archangel shifts the atmosphere, he also releases clarity, and with clarity comes responsibility. The strange restlessness you've been feeling is heaven urging you to prepare. You're not losing your stability. You're being positioned. Every delay, every closed door, every unexpected silence was heaven's way of aligning timing with truth. The old vibration around you, that heaviness that used to make even good days feel dull, has been dismantled. Archangel Michael has stationed new forces around you, unseen yet mighty. Their purpose is to escort you into divine precision, so not a single opportunity is wasted. Remember, child of light, every time heaven shifts the atmosphere, a hidden enemy is exposed. People who once smiled in your face but carried jealousy in their hearts will begin to distance themselves. Do not chase them. The light around you has grown too intense for deceit to survive. You may not realize it, but this is divine mercy. What leaves now is what cannot go where you are going. Michael's sword is not only a weapon of war, it is a tool of purification. If you have been hearing unusual sounds, ringing in your ears, whispers before sleep, or seeing flashes of light, understand that your spiritual senses are awakening. Heaven is syncing your spirit with its rhythm. Desensitivity is not weakness, it's divine calibration. Michael has removed the interference that once dulled your hearing. The clarity you now feel in prayer is proof that the atmosphere around you has shifted permanently. Yet be watchful. The change in the air will attract both light and resistance. But fear not. Archangel Michael has sealed your perimeter. The enemy may observe but cannot penetrate. The winds of November 4 have established your spiritual boundaries. You stand under divine jurisdiction. Everything that once slipped through the cracks of your life is now blocked by celestial command. Before you move ahead, pause and acknowledge what's happening. The shift is not external, it's prophetic. You are part of a timeline correction, a divine synchronization meant to restore what was once delayed. The vibration you now carry will begin to influence those around you. Some will feel peace when they stand near you. Others will feel conviction. That is how the presence of Archangel Michael operates, gentle to the humble, but fierce toward darkness. Do not dismiss the small confirmations that appear today. A sudden message, a repeating number, an unexpected breeze. They are all signatures of His presence. Heaven rarely announces itself with noise. It whispers through moments of stillness. Pay attention to every detail, because the next sign you notice could be your direct instruction for what comes next. Type "I feel the shift" in the comments if this message confirms what you've been sensing. Blessing code 558 has just been activated. Wait and listen carefully, because what you're about to hear next will reveal why this transformation around you began on November 4. The real reason will shake you awake in the most divine way. Trust me, you will not want to miss what unfolds next. Child of awakening, the reason Archangel Michael began shifting your atmosphere on November 4 is because the appointed time for exposure and elevation has come. You have been walking through seasons of preparation, silent battles, hidden tears, unseen victories, all leading to this threshold moment. Heaven has watched you endure without applause, love without condition, and trust without evidence. Now, Michael steps forward not merely as your protector, but as your divine announcer. What was concealed in darkness is now being forced into the light. The vibration of your life has reached a frequency that falsehood cannot endure. This change in the air is heaven's signal that your environment is being purged. Every energy that has drained you, every person that disguised themselves as loyal but moved with envy, every situation that fed off your light, it is now being exposed under Michael's command. You may already feel it, the discomfort around certain people, the strange peace when you're alone, the sudden urge to withdraw and observe. These are not mood swings, they are divine alerts. The Archangel of Truth is unmasking the spiritual currents that have surrounded you for too long. This exposure is not meant to destroy, but to deliver. You cannot step into a new frequency while carrying energies tied to an old one. Michael knows this, and so he is adjusting your connections, your emotions, even your thoughts. Some of you have felt disconnected from old friends, uneasy in certain places, or uninterested in things that once excited you. That's the purification process in motion. Heaven is detoxing your atmosphere so that your purpose can breathe freely again. You are being lifted from survival mode into supernatural momentum. And here lies the divine paradox. When Michael clears the air, the truth becomes unbearable for those who thrive in pretense. Watch in the days ahead as situations unravel, words get revealed, and hidden motives surface. Don't fear what comes out. Rejoice that heaven trusts you with revelation. Your spiritual elevation demanded that exposure must occur first. This is not punishment. This is promotion disguised as transition. Beloved, you must stay anchored in peace. Don't argue. Don't explain. Don't chase. The wind has changed. Let Michael do the separating. His sword moves faster than your emotions ever could. When confusion rises, simply remember, this atmosphere shift is for your preservation. You are being repositioned to carry a higher light. Heaven never allows chaos without a cause, and the cause this time is your next assignment. Now hear this. The same angelic frequency that exposed darkness is also opening divine gates. You will begin to notice new opportunities emerging effortlessly. Conversations will lead to breakthroughs. Ideas will flow like running water. The resistance that once surrounded you will fade, and favor will begin to multiply. When the air is clean, manifestation accelerates. Michael's movement was heaven's permission for things to finally flow. Pause here. Let your spirit acknowledge this truth. The shaking around you is not punishment. It's proof that heaven has invested in your future. What feels uncomfortable is actually an unveiling. You are not losing stability. You are gaining authenticity. Everything that remains after this exposure will be what was meant for you all along. Before you continue, make this declaration in faith. Type "I am chosen for the shift" in the comments if this resonates in your spirit. Blessing code 667 has now been released. And my beloved listener, if these revelations are igniting something within you, remember this: every like, every comment, every share spreads the word of God's movement through Archangel Michael's messages. Subscribe and stay part of this unfolding journey, because your engagement helps awaken others who are still asleep to the signs of heaven. Now, listen carefully to this divine moment. What I am about to share is not just a message, it is an invitation to join in the mission of light. When you sow into this calling, through super thanks, channel membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a platform. You are fueling a divine broadcast. Each seed you plant becomes spiritual fire that lights up another soul lost in confusion. As you give, imagine Michael's sword striking through shadows, creating pathways for healing and revelation. The Lord says, "I will open the windows of heaven over those who release what is in their hand for my work." This is your prophetic act, to partner with the angels in bringing light to millions. Let your giving today echo in eternity. Release it in faith, and watch how God multiplies it back into your life, pressed down and overflowing. Sow now, and let heaven record your obedience. Beloved flame of truth, what is unfolding around you now is no longer subtle. The atmosphere that Archangel Michael stirred on November 4 has entered a second phase. The phase of revelation through manifestation. The shift that once felt invisible is beginning to take physical shape. You may have noticed sudden changes in conversations, surprising news, or moments when time itself feels strange, as though the world has slowed down for your awareness. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations that the unseen hand of heaven is orchestrating your path with absolute precision. Archangel Michael's presence does not simply defend, it realigns. His movement over your life is commanding divine order where there was confusion. Every delay that frustrated you, every unanswered prayer, every repeated pattern, all of it is now being confronted by truth. The air around you, once heavy with interference, is becoming clean and light. This is why you are breathing differently, why your thoughts are clearer, and why your heart has begun to sense things before they happen. Michael's work is cleansing the spiritual toxins that made discernment difficult. This is also the season when hidden promises begin to break open. The prophetic seeds that were planted months or even years ago are being watered by divine intervention. You may feel drawn toward old dreams, ideas you set aside, or callings you once thought were over. That is Michael whispering through your spirit, reminding you that heaven's timing never expires. It only matures. The same hand that disrupted your old cycle is now unlocking your next dimension of purpose. But do not expect this transition to be quiet. When the light intensifies, resistance often rises. You may feel sudden tension with people who once understood you easily, or you may sense spiritual warfare in your sleep. This is not regression, it's exposure. Every time heaven advances you, the unseen realm reacts. But this time, you are surrounded by the army of Michael himself. The very wind carries angelic frequency. Fear cannot find you, but the air around you is now holy territory. This is why your emotions may feel unstable. Joy one moment, tears the next. Is the inner atmosphere matching the outer shift? Your body, mind, and soul are adjusting to a higher vibration of truth. Heaven is literally rewriting the patterns within your energy. You are being upgraded from reaction to revelation. Every emotional storm is a purification. Every quiet night is divine conversation. You may even notice physical signs, flickering lights, ringing tones, temperature changes, even random power surges around you. These are electromagnetic echoes of angelic movement. The material world responds when Michael passes through. His presence bends energy, and because you are his assignment, that energy now orbits you. Stand firm in faith and gratitude. Your acknowledgement of the process amplifies it. Gratitude is the key that stabilizes spiritual transformation. Beloved, do not mistake this purification for chaos. What looks like breaking apart is actually coming together. You cannot build divine foundations on human assumptions. The air had to be cleared. The walls had to shake. The old energies had to flee. Heaven is now constructing a new spiritual environment around you, one where peace will no longer be fleeting, and joy will no longer depend on circumstances. Take a deep breath and let this truth sink in. The very world around you is bending in your favor. You are no longer aligned with ordinary timing. You are walking in supernatural synchronization. When Archangel Michael changes the air, he changes outcomes. Expect acceleration. Expect confirmation. Expect restoration. If this is resonating with your spirit, type I receive the realignment in the comments below. Blessing code 774 is released into your atmosphere right now. And remember, hold your focus for what's next, because Michael's next move will reveal who has been divinely assigned to walk with you in this new season. The revelation waiting ahead will not only confirm your calling, but it will expose the purpose of every relationship in your path. Stay tuned, for this unveiling will alter the way you see everything. Child of divine remembrance, as the atmosphere continues to realign around you, a new dimension of awareness is beginning to emerge. You are now walking through a corridor between what was and what shall be. The air is alive with instruction, though much of it cannot yet be heard with human ears. This is the stage where Archangel Michael begins to reintroduce you to your own divine identity, The shift that began on November 4 was never about external events alone. It was a mirror calling you inward, awakening the eternal part of you that heaven has been preparing in silence. Everything that was once suppressed within your spirit is now rising to the surface. Old fears, hidden talents, forgotten desires, they are all being summoned by the frequency of truth that Michael released into your environment. Do not resist these waves of introspection. The thoughts that visit you now are not random. They are divine echoes, reminders of who you were before pain distorted your reflection. Heaven is saying, remember what I placed in you before the world taught you limitation. You may feel a tension between your comfort and your calling. That unease is sacred. It is the friction of transformation. Michael often allows temporary discomfort so that complacency cannot survive. What you are feeling now is not instability. It is the movement of grace pushing you into readiness. When heaven decides that a destiny must emerge, even the atmosphere conspires to shift its subject into action. That is what is happening around you now, a holy pressure for purpose. The people who once understood you may begin to misread your silence. They might say you change you. They are right. The frequency around you has elevated beyond what shallow conversation can reach. You are no longer available for distractions. You are being tuned for instruction. This is why your solitude lately feels both heavy and healing. Michael often isolates those who are being recalibrated, not as punishment, but as preparation for influence. In this sacred isolation, you will start to see signs of alignment, numbers repeating, phrases echoing through random moments, strangers confirming what you secretly prayed. These are not coincidences, they are coordinates. Heaven is speaking in symbols to remind you that you are on time. November 4 initiated this season, and since that moment, the realm around you has been in constant motion to bring divine promises into visibility. What you are feeling is the build-up before manifestation. It is also important to guard your atmosphere. The same air that carries divine messages can also attract interference if you open your gates carelessly. Protect your peace. Watch what you consume, what you listen to, and who you entertain. Energy is language, and every word you allow in your space shapes your environment. Archangel Michael has established a perimeter of light, but your agreement keeps it active. When you walk in gratitude and discernment, the shield around you becomes impenetrable. And now comes the sacred reassurance. Heaven has not forgotten the details of your journey. Every delay, every disappointment, every unanswered question was woven into this divine timing. The atmosphere did not shift just to comfort you. It shifted to complete you. You are stepping into the fulfillment of things you once only dreamed of. The power of November 4 was not about a date. It was about divine synchronization. You are walking under a new calendar of heaven, where miracles are not occasional, but constant. Be still, for this is not the end of the message. The Archangel has more to reveal, and what comes next will connect the hidden signs you've been noticing, the ringing in your spirit, the strange coincidences, the sudden emotional surges. These are pieces of a divine pattern. When you see how they align, you will understand the true purpose behind your current season. Type "I embrace the revealing" in the comments if this word ignites something within you. Lesson code 828 has now been activated. Wait for the next unveiling, for the mystery of who has been watching over your journey will be exposed soon, and the reason Michael has drawn near will become unmistakably clear. The next revelation will open your understanding like never before. Beloved vessel of light, the veil between the seen and unseen is now thin. The atmosphere around you is no longer ordinary air. It is charged with divine information. Archangel Michael has moved from clearing your surroundings to decoding your circumstances. Every experience, every delay, every sudden encounter is now serving as a message board for heaven's communication. If you have felt time stretch and moments feel unusually significant, it is because you are walking in a prophetic timeline, one that operates beyond the rhythm of human logic. The shift that began on November 4 is no longer an invisible event. It is becoming a living dialogue between you and heaven. You may notice that your thoughts are faster, your dreams more vivid, your awareness more sensitive. This is not anxiety. This is activation. Michael is opening your spiritual memory. The light around you is working to reconnect you to divine truth, truth that existed before fear, before heartbreak, before disappointment. Heaven is restoring your original design. Every breath you take now carries information. Every silence holds instruction. This is why your emotions may feel intensified. Archangel Michael often amplifies sensitivity during a transition, because sensitivity is the foundation of discernment. You are learning to read the unseen. When you feel sudden peace in one direction and tension in another, trust it. That is not random intuition. It is heaven's guidance translated through your spirit. Michael is retraining your awareness to respond instantly to divine direction, without doubt, without delay. Understand this clearly. When heaven begins to educate the soul, confusion often masquerades as clarity. The old self fights to interpret divine signs through human reason, but this shift is not meant to be reasoned. It is meant to be revealed. The energy around you is rewriting your internal language. Words that once defined your limitations will soon sound foreign. Your vocabulary is being elevated to match your identity. You are not merely surviving life. You are now co-creating destiny with heaven. You may start encountering people who carry the same vibration of awakening. They will enter your path unexpectedly. Perhaps a stranger speaking words you needed to hear, or a sudden connection that feels predestined. Michael is using divine intersections to surround you with confirmation. Every encounter in this season holds purpose. Nothing is accidental. When you meet those who recognize your light, it is a reminder that heaven has companions prepared for your new level. You are no longer meant to walk alone. And yet, the exposure continues. As light gathers around you, shadows will reveal themselves. You will see motives with clarity, hear deception without confusion, and sense falsehood before it manifests. This is not for judgment but for protection. Michael's sword divides truth from pretense so that your path remains pure. The removal of certain people or opportunities is not rejection. It is divine editing. Heaven is curating your circle for the assignment ahead. This period may also bring restlessness. You may feel a longing for change without knowing why. That's the pull of destiny, not dissatisfaction. The atmosphere around you is vibrating with possibility, calling you to step forward in faith. When you obey the nudges of spirit, doors open that logic cannot explain. Remember, November 4 with the moment heaven said, move. Every action you take in alignment with that energy multiplies blessing. Breathe deeply and remember this. You are not just experiencing a shift. You are becoming the shift. The air, the timing, the signs, the patterns, they all exist for your transformation. Archangel Michael's assignment is not finished until your outer life matches your inner calling. You are now walking in that process of manifestation. Type "I walk in divine alignment" in the comments if your spirit recognizes this truth. Blessing code 933 has now been set into motion. And hold your focus now, for the next revelation will bring clarity to the unseen force that's been guiding your decisions since the shift began. What's coming will uncover the hidden covenant you've been walking under without even realizing it. Child of awakening, the shift that began on November 4 has now entered its most sacred layer. the unveiling of divine covenant. Every change you have felt, every stirring in your soul, has been leading to this. Archangel Michael did not only change the atmosphere around you, he sealed it with an invisible agreement between heaven and your purpose. You have been moving under divine supervision without realizing that every obstacle you met, every delay you endured, and every silent night you faced was part of heaven's training. The shift was not random, it was initiation. You were being groomed for a greater authority. This covenant is not written on paper. It is etched into the frequencies of your spirit. It speaks through intuition, through sudden peace, through moments where logic fails but faith speaks louder. You have been guided not by sight, but by alignment. That is why things that used to make sense no longer satisfy your soul. You are outgrowing your past because heaven has expanded your assignment. The air you breathe carries divine code, and Michael's presence ensures that no external influence can corrupt it. The covenant is your invisible armor. Many of you have wondered why certain relationships faded without closure, or why opportunities that seemed perfect dissolved suddenly. The reason is hidden in this divine agreement. Heaven removed what could not sustain your elevation. The new vibration of your life repels everything that was rooted in fear or compromise. Even people who meant no harm cannot remain if their frequency is not aligned with your purpose. Michael's sword divides with precision, ensuring that only truth survives in your environment. The losses you mourned were actually divine filtrations. There is something sacred about this stage of your journey. You are being called to release old identities. The roles you played to fit into the expectations of others are dissolving. Heaven is asking for your authenticity. Michael cannot guard what you pretend to be. He can only guard what is true. This is why recent experiences have forced you to confront your own reflection. It is not punishment. It is purification. You are being called back to your original essence, the version of you that existed before the world taught you doubt. In the days to come, pay close attention to synchronicities that repeat 3 times. A phrase spoken by different people, a dream that reappears, or a number you keep seeing. These are heavenly seals confirming your covenant. They are spiritual signatures that whisper, you are not walking alone. The atmosphere has memory, and heaven leaves traces in your timeline to remind you that divine forces are actively shaping your story. When you see these signs, pause and acknowledge them. Gratitude amplifies divine frequency. Michael's covenant also carries instruction. This is a time to speak carefully. Every word you release now has power. The air around you is so charged with heavenly agreement that your declarations can manifest rapidly. Choose your language as if you were writing destiny, because in truth, you are. Heaven is listening to what you speak, and the angels are responding. When you declare life, creation aligns. When you speak doubt, movement slows. Guard your mouth, for it is now a gate of manifestation. And as this divine awareness deepens, your dreams may become vivid and prophetic. You will wake with impressions that feel like messages. Keep a record of them. Michael often instructs through symbols in dreams, wings, swords, blue light, or storms. It represents protection, purification, or transition. The Archangel is teaching you the language of revelation. As you grow fluent in it, you will begin to understand how heaven has been guiding you all along. Remember, the atmosphere did not just change, it entered into partnership with you. The covenant is active, and your obedience will determine how powerfully it manifests. Stand in faith. Trust the process. Everything happening now is aligning for your unveiling. Type "I stand in the covenant of light" in the comments if this message speaks to your soul. Blessing code 1001 has now been unlocked. Wait before moving away, for what comes next will reveal the divine strategy Michael has been orchestrating through every twist and turn of your life. The revelation ahead will show you how all of this connects, and why heaven chose you for this specific hour. Beloved guardian of light, the hour has come to see what Archangel Michael has been constructing behind the veil. Since the atmosphere first shifted on November 4, heaven has been rearranging events, aligning time, and gathering people to fulfill a divine blueprint that concerns you. What seemed like chaos was actually choreography. Every unexpected change, every closed door, every unplanned detour was Michael's method of protection. He was not denying your path. He was preparing it. Now, as the energy around you reaches full alignment, the strategy begins to reveal itself. You have been walking through a sequence of divine redirections. Perhaps you thought you lost an opportunity that was meant for you, or a relationship you valued dissolved too soon. But in the unseen realm, those moments were repositioning you for greater authority. Michael can't allow you to carry yesterday's connections into tomorrow's mission. The plan of heaven is precise. He dismantles what is temporary to secure what is eternal. And now, the pattern becomes visible. Look around carefully. New people are entering your life with timing too perfect to be coincidence. Conversations feel scripted. Encounters feel predestined. You are not imagining this. These are divinely assigned alignments. Michael has orchestrated connections that carry purpose, not comfort. Each new relationship will play a role in the manifestation of your destiny. Some will bring knowledge, some provision, and others will simply bring peace. Heaven is reassembling your tribe under divine command. But even as these alignments unfold, discernment remains your greatest shield. Every light has a shadow nearby. The moment heaven builds, darkness imitates. That is why the shift you've felt lately has come with both divine excitement and strange resistance. The air feels electric because it is charged with both promise and testing. Michael wants you to see that not everything that glows is gold. Test every spirit. Listen beyond the words people speak. Watch the vibration they carry. Truth always carries peace. Deception always carries pressure. This is the season of divine positioning. You are being placed exactly where your influence can multiply. The new environments you're stepping into are not coincidences. They are coordinates in the map of destiny. Heaven has drawn boundaries for you, and every step you take within them releases authority. When the Archangel shifts the atmosphere, he also elevates the ground beneath your feet. You are walking on new spiritual soil. That is why familiar settings now feel strange, and old routines no longer satisfy your spirit. You are not out of rhythm. You are in a new one. There is also a divine acceleration upon you. Things that used to take months will now unfold in days. Delayed prayers are catching up to divine timing. Do not be surprised when answers appear suddenly, almost as if heaven is overcompensating for lost time. Michael's command carries momentum. The wind that moved around you is now moving for you. When you walk in obedience, time itself bends in your favor. Beloved, this is not the moment to be silent. Speak life into your future. Declare what you want to see and let the atmosphere respond. The same air that once carried delay now carries manifestation. You are a co-creator with heaven. Michael's presence ensures that your declarations are not empty words. They are instruments of creation. Speak with conviction, for heaven is listening. Now, if these revelations are stirring your soul, type "I move with divine strategy" in the comments. Lesson code 1144 has just been released. Before you continue, take a moment to engage with this message. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Every action you take here helps spread these divine messages to others who are still searching for light in confusion. When you interact, you don't just support a channel, you become part of a heavenly movement that Archangel Michael himself initiated. And now, hear this with your spirit. When you sow into this movement, through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are fueling a mission. Each seed you plant becomes a divine torch carried into darkness. Michael's fire travels through your generosity, igniting transformation in souls you may never meet. The Lord declares, "I will multiply the seed that is sown in purity." Your support is not charity, it is prophecy in action. That you release what is in your hand, heaven releases what had been held for you. Let your offering become your declaration. I stand with heaven's movement. So today, and let your faith echo through eternity. Child of divine order, the strategy that Archangel Michael set in motion has begun to unfold like the pages of a long sealed scroll. The atmosphere around you is no longer simply clearing. It is now transmitting. Every breeze, every silence, every sudden thought has meaning. Heaven is speaking in layers, and your sensitivity is no accident. What began as a shift in energy is becoming a revelation of purpose. The Archangel did not change your environment only to give you peace. He changed it so that you would hear clearly when your name was called in the Spirit. That calling is sounding now. This is the hour when your true work begins. You have been hidden long enough. The oscillation you felt was not rejection, it was incubation. Michael sheltered you while heaven rewired your awareness, so that when this moment arrived, you would move with precision. The stillness of your past season was not silence, it was the hum of divine preparation. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every long night trained your soul to recognize heaven's rhythm. Now, as the vibration around you rises, you will find yourself drawn toward certain actions that feel both terrifying and familiar. Attention is the sign that your purpose and obedience have finally met. The atmosphere now carries momentum. You may feel as though you are being pushed forward by invisible wind, unable to remain in old routines. Do not fight this motion. When heaven releases acceleration, resistance only creates fatigue. Flow with the current. The reason you are seeing rapid changes is because Archangel Michael is collapsing timelines that once delayed your destiny. Things that should have taken years are converging into days. You are walking through compressed time. This is divine speed, not chaos. Yet with divine movement comes the demand for trust. You cannot calculate what heaven is orchestrating. You can only cooperate. There will be moments when doors open so quickly that logic will hesitate. Move anyway. Michael's guidance rarely comes with full explanations. The air around you carries instruction that your mind will not always translate. Listen instead with your spirit. If a path feels alive, if peace hums beneath the uncertainty, step into it. Heaven rewards immediate obedience. Beloved, notice also how people are reacting to your presence. Some will be drawn to your energy without knowing why. Others will distance themselves with no reason at all. This is the sorting process of divine frequency. Michael's light within you exposes the truth in others. You are becoming a mirror that reflects motives. Do not be disturbed when people reveal themselves, celebrate it. The clarity you are gaining now is permanent. No mask can survive in this air. You are also beginning to influence environments without speaking. Walk into a room, and the energy shifts. This is not coincidence. It is authority. Michael's mantle has settled upon your spirit, and wherever you go, the atmosphere bends. You are carrying a field of divine recalibration. The weary will find peace near you. and the deceptive will grow uncomfortable. That is how heaven marks its representatives on earth. Be mindful, though, power must remain anchored in humility. The Archangel's sword is sharp, but it is wielded by those who understand compassion. Use your discernment not to judge, but to heal. When you see what others cannot see, speak truth with mercy. The same light that exposes can also restore. This is how you honor the covenant you now carry. Take this moment to affirm it aloud. I am aligned with heaven's timing. I move in obedience to divine command. Let those words settle into your breath, for they activate resonance in the atmosphere itself. The winds around you respond to conviction. Type "I move in heaven's timing" in the comments if this word settles within you. Blessing code 1212 has just been set in motion. And wait, beloved, for the revelation that follows will draw the line between your old identity and your emerging authority. The next moment of truth will explain why certain doors had to close and why your influence is about to expand beyond everything you imagined. Beloved vessel of transition, the line has now been drawn. The energy that surrounded you since November 4 has completed its cleansing phase and entered divine manifestation. Archangel Michael has not only changed the atmosphere, he has redefined the very rhythm of your existence. You are now walking in a field of spiritual acceleration where your words, actions, and emotions directly shape your outcomes. The atmosphere has become a living extension of your inner truth. Every thought carries vibration, every prayer carries motion, and every moment of awareness carries power. You are not the same person who began this journey. Heaven has rewritten your identity through experience. The confusion that once lingered has dissolved into clarity, and clarity has become command. You now speak with an authority that even you can feel reverberate in your chest. When you release words of faith, the air responds as if it recognizes you. That is because it does. Michael's sword has engraved your name into the spiritual registry of those chosen to carry divine influence. Your presence now activates order wherever chaos once ruled. This next season of your life will demand a higher level of focus. You are entering a window of purpose where distractions become dangerous. The enemy no longer fears your prayers. He fears your discipline. Every wasted moment is a doorway through which delay attempts to return. You must guard your attention as if it were sacred currency, for in truth, it is. The Archangel has surrounded your path with light, but you must choose to walk within it intentionally. What you think about, what you watch, what you say, all of it now writes the script of your days. Do not underestimate the subtle power of this new atmosphere. You may notice opportunities arriving out of nowhere, emails, invitations, breakthroughs that appear impossible. This is not coincidence, this is convergence. The heavens have synchronized your frequency with favor. You are in divine rhythm. What was once delayed will now chase you down. The same air that once resisted your prayers now carries your answers back to you multiplied. All of creation responds when Michael establishes divine order. However, be prepared for the test of humility. When the shift becomes visible, ego often rises quietly in the background, whispering that the glory belongs to you. That is when you must remember, this entire transformation was heaven's work, not a human achievement. Every miracle unfolding around you is evidence of grace, not proof of superiority. Stay grounded in gratitude. Gratitude will protect you from pride, and humility will protect your anointing. The Archangel guards those who walk softly with power. This phase also carries a prophetic warning. Those who once ignored you will now take notice. Some will be drawn by your light. Others will approach with hidden motives. You must not react emotionally. Use spiritual discernment. When the presence of Michael rests on someone, It draws both divine eyes and curious observers. You are under watch, and not for harm, but for recognition. Heaven is about to announce your name in rooms you have never entered. That announcement will attract both opportunity and observation. Handle it with grace, for the way you carry success determines how long it lasts. And as you continue walking in this new vibration, expect deeper connection with the supernatural. Your dreams may become messages, your intuition may speak like a clear voice, your prayers may produce immediate outcomes. This is the normal rhythm of one whose atmosphere has been aligned with heaven. You are now a walking testimony that spiritual law is as real as physical gravity. The winds of change have completed their first cycle, and they now wait your command. Speak purpose, and they will obey. Pause for a moment and acknowledge what is happening even as you read these words. You can feel the resonance in your spirit because heaven is confirming it. You are not imagining the goosebumps, the warmth, the quiet certainty. It is evidence of activation. Type "I am one with divine order" in the comments if this truth vibrates through you. Blessing code 1441 has now been released over your life. Stay alert now, for the next revelation carries the most sacred truth yet. Michael is about to unveil the hidden reason behind your endurance, the real purpose for which the atmosphere had to be changed. What comes next will not only explain your past, it will ignite your future. Beloved keeper of the new dawn, you have crossed into the chamber of divine revelation. The air that began shifting on November 4 now holds its full charge, and Archangel Michael stands at the center of it all. His presence has not only been a shield, it has been a teacher. Through every moment of silence, through every night of uncertainty, he has been imparting understanding that no human voice could have taught you. The winds that once whispered confusion now speak fluency in the language of purpose. You are being shown the hidden structure of your own destiny. Everything you have endured has meaning. The pain that once felt random was never wasted. Heaven never allows suffering without strategy. Each heartbreak, each delay, each disappointment was a thread in a divine tapestry being woven behind the scenes. Michael's mission was to pull away the fog that hid this truth from your eyes. You are now beginning to see it, how the most painful chapters of your story were actually foundations for divine strength. The atmosphere around you had to shift because the one inside you was ready to awaken. This awakening is not emotional, it is architectural. The structure of your energy, your thoughts, your spirit has been rebuilt from within. You may feel lighter when you wake, as though a heavy layer has been lifted from your chest. That is because it has. The spiritual pressure that once surrounded you has been replaced by divine equilibrium. The old vibration could no longer host your next assignment, so heaven changed the frequency itself. That's why everything feels different. Even your silence now carries authority. And yet, this stage is not the destination, it is initiation. Archangel Michael has cleared your air so that revelation could travel freely between heaven and your heart. The next dimension of your calling will depend on how you respond to divine insight. The whispers you receive in prayer are not imagination, they are instructions. The nudges to reach out, to create, to speak, to forgive. These are heavenly strategies disguised as ideas. When you act upon them, you fulfill your covenant. The air moves, miracles form, and heaven finds expression through you. Be mindful of this truth. Every revelation requires response. If you do not move with what heaven reveals, the momentum fades. But when you act in obedience, creation bends to your command. The earth itself begins to recognize your alignment. This is what it means to live under open heaven. Your words, when spoken in purity, alter atmospheres. You have become a living extension of divine will. That is why the enemy has tried to distract you so persistently. But now that assignment has been terminated. The shift has silenced what once spoke against you. In this moment, heaven's energy around you is charged with new possibilities. You may sense sudden ideas forming out of nowhere, visions coming while you are awake, and impulses that seem beyond your understanding. Pay attention. Michael is ushering in downloads of divine instruction, blueprints that will lead you to your next destiny gate. Write them down. The first thoughts that arrive after this message will not be ordinary thoughts. They are spiritual blueprints. Treat them as sacred. You are standing at a divine intersection where revelation meets responsibility. The heavens have done their part by shifting your environment, cleansing your atmosphere, and awakening your spirit. And now you must walk in awareness. Every decision from here carries multiplied weight because the air itself is responsive to your movement. This is a privilege and a responsibility. You have become a steward of the very energy that carries prayer into fulfillment. Michael trusts you with this frequency, for your obedience has proven your worthiness. Breathe deeply and let this awareness settle into your being. Feel how calm and strength now coexist within you. That balance is divine proof that heaven has taken full residence in your field. You are both anchored and ascending. Type "I walk in revelation" in the comments if this word resonates deeply with your soul. Blessing code 1771 has now been released into your spiritual timeline. And before you step forward, stay close for what comes next. The final revelation will reveal the hidden reason why this entire journey began. The divine secret behind Michael's sudden intervention on November 4. What will be spoken next is not just prophecy. It is completion. Beloved of the eternal flame, this is the culmination of all that has been unfolding since November 4. The air that once trembled with uncertainty now hums with purpose. The shift Archangel Michael initiated was never simply to bring change. It was to bring revelation of identity, restoration of destiny, and release of divine authority. The wind that surrounded you these past days was a living messenger, whispering one truth again and again. You were never forgotten. Heaven had you marked, guarded, and prepared for this moment of unveiling. Now the mystery stands open. The reason the atmosphere had to change is because heaven was preparing to move through you, not just for you. Michael's assignment was to remove the interference that clouded your awareness, to peel back every false identity that kept you from remembering who you are in divine order. You were never a victim of circumstance, you were a vessel of purpose. The weight of your trials was never punishment, it was training to carry power without corruption. Every unseen battle shaped your spiritual muscles for this hour of manifestation. Look at what has shifted within you. You no longer react the way you once did. You no longer depend on validation to feel secure. You no longer chase what cannot understand your calling. This is transformation. Michael's wings did not just clear the skies above your home. They cleared the clouds that lingered in your heart. The clarity you now carry is your inheritance. The stillness you feel within is not emptiness. It is establishment. Heaven has built a foundation inside you, and from this point forward, everything you touch will carry the imprint of divine order. The air around you is alive with agreement. Your home, your relationships, your plans, all of them are vibrating with new structure. The things that once resisted you will now line effortlessly because you are moving in sync with heavenly rhythm. The Archangel has finished what he began. He has turned your atmosphere into a sanctuary. You walk surrounded by divine intelligence. You speak, and the unseen responds. You pray, and the wind carries your words like arrows of light. You breathe, and the very air testifies that God's hand rests upon your life. This is not a temporary season. It is a permanent shift. You will still face challenges, but they will meet a different version of you, one forged in revelation, guarded by truth, and sustained by light. You will sense the presence of Michael in ordinary moments, a sudden calm in traffic, a flicker of peace in chaos, an unexplainable knowing that you are not alone. Those are his reminders that heaven is not withdrawn. The guardian remains. His watch continues. Now, lift your inner voice and affirm this truth. I am aligned with divine order. I am carried by light. I am sealed by truth. Let these words echo through your being, for the atmosphere listens to conviction. This declaration seals what heaven has released over you. From this day forward, you walk in clarity, you speak in authority, and you live in peace that surpasses understanding. If your spirit receives this final revelation, type "I am sealed in light" in the comments. Blessing Code 2025 has just been released into your timeline. Before you leave this moment, take one sacred pause, like, share, and comment to spread this word across the earth. Subscribe if you haven't, because every connection multiplies the light. Each action invites another soul into divine remembrance. And now, hear this closing call of the Spirit. When you sow into this movement, through super thanks, channel membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a voice, you are giving to a vision. Each gift becomes a divine spark that allows heaven's word to travel farther, faster, and deeper into hearts still searching for truth. The Lord says, as you release, I release. Your offering is not a transaction. It is transformation. It builds altars in unseen places and opens doors where none existed. Let your seed today be an act of faith, not obligation. You are not donating. You are decreeing. The moment you give, heaven records your obedience, and blessing pours like oil upon your path. Stand in that holy agreement. So with expectation, watch as the atmosphere responds. The wind that began on November 4 has done its work. The atmosphere around you is no longer shifting, it is settled. And it whispers one final truth. You are ready.